We are back, and it is hard to match Kay's energy.
She's always got so much energy.
Yeah,
so
Amy
much.
did a good job.
Yes.
Okay, now we're going to bring in a brand recognized around the world for the way it is instilling innovation right into the heart of its business.
That's right, Fritz. Grupo Bimbo is the world's largest bakery company operating in more than 30 countries. And they're harnessing AI to transform HR, finance, procurement, basically the whole business. And we're thrilled to welcome Antonio Parra, Vice President of Global Business Technology at Grupo Bimbo. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Shanna. Thank you, Fritz.
You know, and I kind of feel like I wish we had some bakery items right here.
I want you to redo the name, though.
Parra. Antonio Parra.
You say it perfectly. Love it.
Great. See, I knew you could do it.
We had a lesson beforehand, so thank you. You were a good teacher.
Let's take a few steps back here, and for people who may not know that Grupo Bimbo name, tell us a little bit about the business.
So first of all, we aim to nourish a better world, okay? Which is kind of bold and as broad as you can imagine. And that is super exciting. That fills us with energy. And of course, we have to take whatever's available for us to make it happen. Because if you want to go after the world and nourish it, you have to do it in ways that people can afford it, that people can find it wherever they are. And if people are everywhere in the world and not everybody has the same level of income, you have to make it work for everybody, okay? And now, to do that, we have to be sustainable, we have to be highly productive, and deeply humane. And one of the things we're finding out is that, of course, yeah, sustainable and AI, they go hand in hand, because there's a lot of information to know how you can reduce your impact or how can you reverse your impact for the planet on one side. And on the other hand, highly productive, yes, every people talk about being highly productive as the aim, as the mission for AI. But what about deeply humane? And we're finding out that we can be and we should be deeply humane applying AI, because that's going to be elevating our work as a species. That's going to be separating us more from other sorts of living things, which is fantastic. It's unimaginable. And we're not going to be fighting AI. We're going to be, and we are not doing that, we are embracing it.
Yes.
So our goal is to augment every associate. We have about 160,000 associates globally. We operate in 39 countries, and we have one of the largest supply chains. Before coming to business technology or IT, I used to work in supply chain, both in the Coca-Cola company and in Grupo Bimbo. So it came to me very natural to make this transition to this part of the business, now being in charge of business technology, and how we can help every area of the business everywhere in the world to change the way we work through data, and to use that data to take it to a new level of decision making with AI. Faster, cheaper, better.
Yes, you know, I really appreciate that, you know, sustainable, productive, and then deeply humane. I think that's really important. And something, you know, we've heard just a few times throughout these conversations today is it's, you know, really putting the human first in this AI conversation, because AI has the ability to maybe do some things we haven't been able to figure out when it comes to being deeply humane. And, you know, and knowing that you have 160,000 associates. You're in 39 countries, one of the largest supply chains. And also, by the way, we have been in Oracle and Grupo Bimbo have been in a relationship for 25 years. And you have your pin. I see that. That's fantastic. I love it with your logo and ours. But it's incredible to think about that you have those three pillars you're focused on. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, so let's dive a little bit into supply chain. You talked about this being one of the largest, most complex supply chain. Give us a sense of the challenges that creates.
Yes. So, for instance, freshness is very important when we're talking about bakery. Mm-hmm. So, a few years ago, bread used to last just a few days, and now with some technology, not necessarily different ingredients, but some technology, we're making it last a little longer with better impact. And now that's allowing us to move from local markets, from just being able to compete and offer with the local bakers to global, to a global arena. And to do that, you have to know what the demand's going to be in every single place in the world. Again, 4 million customers that we serve at least once a week globally.
Wow.
You have to make sure in every trip you have the right portfolio and that was produced at the right time from the right place, and that whenever you go back and visit them, you're not going to be bringing back a lot of it. You want to be bringing as close to zero as possible. So that in combination creates one of the largest data challenges globally. Okay? Actually, we have to come to Oracle because Oracle is one of the few technology companies that can manage the amount of data we take in. So now, when you multiply that by the possibilities of what can happen, then you move from millions to billions of data points. And then to make sense of those billions of data points, you have to have AI again to tell us, yeah, you are going to be visiting this mom and pop store in which you're going to be making a drop of only $100, okay?
Yes.
And you have to make it work for your bottom line. Okay? And in some places, it can go lower than $100. Not every place in the world is a Walmart, okay? Where you go and you deliver thousands of dollars at a time. So that's super interesting, and we need to make a profit at the end of the day, because otherwise you don't survive.
Well, and I really think that you just kind of hit on that AI can't just be a tool. It has to become part of the strategy, and that's what we're able to help provide.
Yes.
Is that strategy to move forward. And so I do really want to jump into this concept of AI factory. So let's talk about this. Can you tell us how you are, taking AI initiatives and, not experimenting, but using them for measurable outcomes? Go a little bit further from what you just said, because you dabbled into it, like jumped into it a bit, but go a little bit further.
Okay, so we have been working with AI for between 7 and 8 years, depending on how you count it. We started with what was called, or still called, machine learning.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is that you had to know the language of the machines, and very few people knew that. So it was difficult, slow, expensive. We jumped into generative AI, and everything changed. Now everything's faster, and we had our period, and that was basically in 2023. It seems like a long time ago, in which we were making some experiments. Very quickly, we realized the technology worked, and the challenge was around people.
Yes.
How can we teach people? How can we open the minds of people? And you cannot go and do that. No, they have to realize that, and they have to open that for themselves. So what are the elements that are going to be helping people to open their own minds, to accept the change, and to lower the fear?
Oh, that's important.
Because the fear is what prevents most of these changes happening. So we went through that, and now we're at a point that technology works. We have to focus on people, help them embrace the change, understand that there's either a chance in which somebody else comes and change their work for them, or they have the ownership and the possibility with the right follow through to change their own role.
Yeah.
And then you can sustain them. And they can be sustainable and competitive in this new world. And it is very difficult for me to go and help everybody figure out what their new role is going to be when you're talking about 160,000 people.
Yeah.
If you give those tools to the people will find out, and they will take it to things, to places you never dreamed of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think that measurable results come from first taking the fear out of it for the people driving to get to those results.
So
Yes.
when we have those things in place, then why would we be even doing a proof of concept, the POCs? Why? Jump into it.
Yes.
Go into it. Take whatever time is needed for people to understand it, to understand their role, to understand what's going to be changing and what they can change. Make them a player rather than a victim.
One of the things that Mike talked about on stage, and he talks about a lot, is, lowering not just the fear, but also the bar to entry. And our belief is you build it in, you make it just part of the product. We've added it, we've embedded it into our Fusion products. Are there some examples where having it in the product like that has helped move the needle for Grupo Bimbo?
Yes. So, and again, going back to my initial points, we have kind of two AIs. First one, the embedded AI that companies like Oracle bring to us.
Right.
And that is the first place we want to go, usually, because people can understand it. It becomes an extension. It almost becomes a natural part of doing business. Okay? So they just start working with it, sometimes without even noticing it. One of my targets is to do AI without knowing that you're doing AI.
Which is great, yes.
And that makes it natural. You get rid of this spirit that's floating around that you feel you don't know the details. You don't have to know it. It's easy for you. Now, the real challenge becomes, what are you going to be learning different? Once the AI part and the interface is solved, what are you going to be doing as a person? And then we have the other part, which is the AI we built for us. What is the AI we built for us? The one that brings a competitive advantage for us. The one that we feel it's unique for Grupo Bimbo. Because once you go out and you work with something that Oracle provides, it is available for everybody, and that's okay. And it's probably fine for 90% of what we do. But for that 10% remaining, we have to go into it. And we have to pull our sleeves and get into the code, which is now easier to do.
Yes.
And change the world with that 10% and have the 90% remaining as the basics to do business and to be competitive.
We talked about speed, but you've not just built processes to speed things up, but also to increase trust. How has that changed how your teams operate globally?
Okay, and that's very important, and that's very difficult. Because the first approach is you have a process, and you think, okay, I want AI and technology to do the same process. No. How can we go first starting with the end in mind? Where's where I want to get to? And then works backward to understand how can you get easier, faster, even if it means completely destroying the current process. We as people are super afraid of destroying our own processes because we feel comfort
Yes.
on the known side of the world. There are very few of us are crazy enough to say, yeah, bring me any kind of change. I will embrace it, whatever. No, because your level of stress goes up. And if you cannot manage it, then it becomes a problem in your life. So having that balance, what is the level of change that a person can take? And again, as we are moving from averages in terms of how we operate the business. We move from averages on how we treat people. So going back to the deeply humane, we treat you as an individual. We know how Fritz takes change. We know how Shanna takes change. And we work with you individually on your career plan, on your development plan, and then things start working for you. Now, will we be able to manage correctly 160,000 different plans? I don't know. Probably yes, but probably 1,000 will be good enough, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking to the CHRO of Marriott who talked about, if you take care of your employees, they'll take care of your customers. So the more you can invest in that, the better the outcome ultimately. For me, sitting there eating my, honey bun.
Yeah, absolutely. And AI by itself should never be the target. Implementing AI. And sometimes people get stressed because they go to events like this and everybody starts talking of the wonders they're doing with AI. That is fantastic. But it's not just as saying, okay, Monday we want this to happen. Okay. So we don't know the story of how they made it happen,
right?
And how to translate that into our own people. Okay, this is not like downloading an app.
Right.
Okay, we're not machines yet, and hopefully we will not become machines. If we want to compete with machines, we're lost. We've already lost that game. So again, we have to find our humanity, embrace our humanity, embrace technology, and become a new species.
Yes. Antonio, you can hear the passion in your voice when you talk about this and how much you care. And it keeps going back to those three things: sustainability, productivity, and being deeply humane. And you care so much about those who work for you, your associates, 160,000, in 39 countries. And so it's incredible to see, for one, as a leader, a leader who's focused on that. And then also in this moment in time where AI can be really scary, is helping those who work for this mission and to really feel comfortable with using it and knowing that it's going to come in as a complement, not to replace, but as a complement and take out the fear. So how you've really embraced this change, and I like how you said that, because yes, we would all love to be able to say like, yes, change, bring it on, and not everyone does. And so how can you encourage other companies to do what you're doing and to embrace this moment and really make it part of their DNA to embrace this AI transformation?
I think first, it is super important to understand that this is not just a possibility. It is a reality.
Yeah.
AI is past,
here,
present, and future.
Yep.
It will not go away, and you have to learn it. There's a secret formula for you. Okay, you have to find it, and the only way to find it is to experiment it, to go and play with it, understand how the machines think, how the machines talk to you, how the machines listen, draw,
you have to try
everything. You have to try it. So first of all, from company perspective, let it flow. Okay? Let it flow in terms of having access for all of your associates to play with it. Have safe playgrounds. You don't want to have a lack of governance. That is for sure. So you have to make sure you have a playground that is safe. Once you have that safe playground and how everybody understands how to stay within it, go and do and destroy and create without putting the business in jeopardy. You still have to have common sense. Hey, you cannot do AI unplugging your common sense and mind. You still have to. Yes, the basics of business remains with these new powers.
Yes.
Okay, and then you will find your secret formula and say, okay, I got it. I'm going into the real world and I'm going to change, starting with my own role. And then probably help some others in the way. But once you change yourself through this AI, you will know that this is a safe passage, that you're in control, that AI is not in control, and that you have a bright future.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's going to be difficult. Okay? So the moment we realize that and we're willing to let it go on that side, it will work fantastic.
Yes.
Great. Well, Antonio, thank you. It is great to hear how Grupo Bimbo's blueprint is proof that when you combine scale and strategy and humanity, AI truly delivers delicious business value.
Thank you, Antonio. And with that, let's keep the momentum going. We'll be back right after this message.